Cayo Sombrero, the Hat Island, reveals its secrets not in a single glance, but through an understanding of its very composition. This is not a land born of volcanic fire, but a delicate architecture assembled by life itself over thousands of years. As a classic coral key, its foundation is a testament to the slow, patient work of reef-building organisms. The sand, a brilliant powdery white, is not terrestrial rock but the finely ground history of coral skeletons and mollusk shells, a biological process so gradual it takes centuries to create a single inch of new shoreline. This calcareous base is precisely why the surrounding water possesses such an impossible clarity, its shallow depths filtering the Caribbean light into a dazzling spectrum of turquoise and azure. To walk its twin beaches, connected by a slender shifting isthmus, is to tread upon a living monument, a fragile masterpiece crafted by the ocean's smallest engineers, reminding us that the most profound beauty is often the product of immense time and microscopic effort. To comprehend Playa Rincón, one must understand its dual nature, a geographical paradox born from the unique geology of the Samaná Peninsula. For millennia, this entire landmass was a separate island, its isolation fostering a distinct landscape that only later joined Hispaniola. This history is written across the beach's remarkable 3-kilometer arc. On one end, the turquoise Atlantic surf washes over brilliant white sands, the quintessential Caribbean dream. But walk just a few hundred paces and the environment transforms entirely. Here, the Caño Frío, a crystal-clear freshwater river, emerges from a dense mangrove forest, its cool, calm waters offering a startling contrast to the warm, saline sea it flows into. This convergence isn't merely a visual spectacle, it's an ecological meeting point, a place where two profoundly different worlds, the jungle and the ocean, don't just border one another, but gracefully merge. It is a testament to how ancient geological events continue to shape the living, breathing character of a place in the present day. Nestled within the cloud forests of Venezuela's Cordillera de la Costa, at over 1,800 meters, lies a remarkable historical anomaly. This is Colonia Tovar, a living echo of southern Germany, founded in 1843 by a few hundred immigrants from the then independent Grand Duchy of Baden. For more than a century, their geographic isolation was so profound that their distinct Alemannic dialect, a language of the past, was preserved as if in amber. This seclusion didn't just conserve a culture, it forced a unique adaptation to the land. The iconic half-timbered Fachwerk architecture, so striking against the tropical highland foliage, tells a story of resilience. Here, old-world agricultural techniques were meticulously applied to a new neotropical microclimate, creating a fertile haven for peaches, strawberries, and wheat. The result is not a static museum, but a complex and evolving synthesis, a place where Venezuelan rhythms are interwoven with the enduring legacy of those first Black Forest pioneers, a testament to how culture is a constant, dynamic negotiation between memory and environment. Isla Margarita, the Pearl, a name bestowed not for its beauty alone, but for a tangible, iridescent treasure that once paved the seabed of its surrounding waters. Long before the arrival of Spanish galleons in the late 15th century, the indigenous Guaycari people lived in harmony with this bounty. But this natural wealth soon fueled one of the New World's first and most brutal resource rushes, giving rise to the city of Nueva Cadiz on neighboring Cubagua, a city built on pearls and ultimately swallowed by the sea. Today, that history of opulence and ruin echoes across the island's contrasting landscapes. From the sun-bleached walls of its colonial forts, built to defend a treasure that is now largely gone, to the stark, arid beauty of the Macanao Peninsula, Margarita presents a complex portrait. It is two islands, geologically fused by the mangrove-rich isthmus of La Restinga, and two histories, culturally bound by the legacy of what was taken from the deep. One learns to see it not just as a Caribbean escape, but as a living testament to the enduring human cycle of discovery, exploitation, and resilience. A story whispered on the trade winds. Cayo vapor. The name, bestowed by 16th century cartographers, is a literal description, but a scientific misnomer. What appears to the naked eye as steam is in fact an ethereal phosphorescence, a mist of bioluminescent archaea expelled from deep-sea geothermal vents that fissure the island's foundation. For millennia, these extremophils have thrived in the superheated, mineral-rich water, and their collective glow is the source of the island's perpetual twilight. The vents force this luminous aerosol through a labyrinth of volcanic rock, where it clings to vast crystalline selenite formations. This interaction is the key. The selenite scatters the pale blue light, creating the illusion of a low-hanging, glowing cloud that shrouds the island's core for nearly 300 days a year. It's a landscape forged by a delicate, almost impossible alchemy of geology and biology. A silent, shimmering world that for centuries remained a ghost on the horizon, a testament to the planet's capacity for creating wonders in its most isolated corners. Caracas reveals itself not as a coastal city, as one might expect of a Caribbean nation's capital, but as a high-altitude secret, cradled nearly 900 meters above the sea it cannot see. This long valley's famously temperate embrace, a gentle year-round climate often celebrated as an eternal spring, is the direct and generous gift of the colossal mountain range that looms to its north, the indigenous Waraira Repano. For centuries, this formidable green wall, known to most by its colonial name, El Avila, has served a profound dual role. It is the city's steadfast protector, a natural bulwark shielding its inhabitants from the Caribbean's harsh, salt-laden gales and scorching humidity. Simultaneously, it is its great isolator, a psychological and physical barrier that decisively separates the capital's unique, introspective rhythm from the vibrant, open pulse of the coast just a few kilometers away. Its presence is absolute. Every street corner, every bustling plaza, every high-rise window exists under its silent, ever-watchful gaze. The mountain is a constant compass point, a shared backdrop to the lives of millions, and a perpetual reminder that this sprawling metropolis, for all its concrete, steel, and clamor, owes its very character, its climate that nurtures, its culture that has blossomed in this enclosure. Long before the first Spanish galleons arrived, drawn by whispers of precious metals, this coastline was already guarding a more ancient and intricate treasure. This is the Amber Coast, home to some of the world's most sought-after fossilized resin, formed from an extinct species of tropical tree between 25 and 40 million years ago. What makes Dominican amber so remarkable is its exceptional clarity, a near-perfect transparency that often entombs a startlingly preserved record of prehistoric life, from insects to minuscule flowers. Looking up from the city's vibrant Victorian architecture towards the mist-shrouded peak of Mount Isabel de Torres, one can almost sense the ghost of that primordial forest, the source of this golden wealth. Here, every polished stone is not merely a souvenir, but a fragment of deep time, a silent testament to a world that existed eons before the port was ever given its name. At first glance, Sayona Island presents an almost impossibly perfect cliché of Caribbean beauty, a tranquil fringe of white sand met by crystalline turquoise water. But to see it only as this is to miss the deeper narrative. Designated as a government-protected nature reserve, it forms the southern boundary of the vast Cotobanamar National Park. Its European name was bestowed in 1494 by Christopher Columbus, a nod to his friend Michel de Cunha's Italian hometown of Savona. Yet long before Columbus, the island was a vital Taino settlement, its limestone caves serving as sacred shelters. This very geology, a flat, porous limestone shelf, dictates the island's character. From the slow-filtering fresh water that sustains its unique flora to the vast, shallow sandbars offshore where sea stars gather. It serves as a quiet reminder that even the most serene places are archives, their sands and stones chronicling millennia of natural formation and centuries of human passage. Here in Aragua, the Cordillera de la Costa doesn't just meet the Caribbean, it plunges into it, creating a landscape of breathtaking verticality. This dramatic meeting of mountain and sea is enshrined within the Henri Pittier National Park, established in 1937 as the very first in Venezuela. But its historical status is secondary to its geological significance. The park's unique topography forms the Paso de Portachuelo, a crucial pass that acts as a natural funnel for millions of migratory birds. Over 580 avian species, representing more than 40% of the nation's total bird life, use this corridor. These cloud-wreathed peaks, rising steeply from the turquoise water, are the only major break in the coastal range for hundreds of kilometers, a geographic inevitability that has shaped life on a continental scale. For millennia, long before any border was drawn, this has been a vital artery of the Americas, a place where the land itself guides life on an immense and ancient journey. The island's name, Cayo Sal, is not merely a label, but a declaration of its very essence. For centuries before it became a sanctuary for sun-seekers, this was a place of industry, a natural salt pan prized by colonial powers. Here, the relentless Caribbean sun performs a slow alchemy on shallow, landlocked lagoons, evaporating the water to leave behind a brilliant crust of pure salt. This geological process, simple yet profound, created a landscape of stark contrasts, blinding white flats meeting the impossible turquoise of the Caribbean Sea. It's a deceptively harsh environment, where only the most resilient coastal vegetation can take root at the margins of the saline earth. One can still feel the weight of that history, a silent testament to how a single mineral, born of sun and sea, could shape human endeavor for more than 400 years, long before the first footprints of leisure were ever left upon its shores. Dominating the coastline is the iconic limestone mesa of El Morro, a geological sentinel shaped by millennia of tectonic uplift and coastal erosion. This is not the Caribbean of popular imagination. It is a subtropical dry forest, one of the most arid zones in the Antilles, where thorny acacia and towering cacti thrive under a relentless sun. This parched earth, however, holds a profound secret. It gives way to one of the island's most extensive and pristine mangrove systems, a verdant labyrinth of life-giving waterways that feed into the bay. For centuries, this unique environment has also sustained a thriving industry of sea salt extraction, with vast, shimmering salt pans reflecting the stark blue sky. It was this dramatic confluence of arid peak and fertile estuary that greeted Christopher Columbus in 1493, prompting him to name the landmark Monte Cristi, the Mount of Christ. Here, the land itself tells the story, a chronicle written in stone, salt, and water, where the deep past feels not just remembered, but physically present, etched into every contour of the landscape. Caribbean imaginary is painted in whites and turquoise, yet here at La Caobita, the landscape offers a profound geological counterpoint. The sand, a deep shade of charcoal grey, owes its unusual colour not to recent volcanic fury, but to a much longer story. For millennia, the rivers flowing from the Cordillera Central have carried these fine, dark sediments down to the coast, a patient alluvial process that has built this shoreline grain by grain. This mineral-rich sand, a legacy of ancient eruptions far inland, creates a striking contrast with the placid, protected waters of the Bahia de Ocoa. The beach's name, meaning Little Mahogany, hints at a different kind of natural wealth that once defined this region. La Caobita, then, is more than a destination. It is a testament to the powerful, often invisible forces that connect the mountains to the sea, a quiet chronicle of time written across the shore. Mere steps from the often turbulent Atlantic, a profound stillness takes hold at Playa Calaton. This is no ordinary cove, but a geological masterpiece carved from ancient karstic limestone. Over millennia, the relentless work of water, both from the sea and from subterranean freshwater springs, has dissolved the rock, sculpting a near-perfect natural swimming pool. The result is a sanctuary, sheltered by rugged limestone arms that absorb the ocean's energy, leaving the water within as a placid, crystalline lens. It's a unique, brackish environment where freshwater from the nearby Grigri lagoon system seeps in to meet the salt of the sea, creating ideal conditions for the juvenile fish that find refuge here. It stands as a quiet testament to nature's patient artistry, a place not built in moments of violent upheaval, but shaped by the slow, persistent whisper of water against stone, a process that continues imperceptibly to this day. Here, in the heart of Venezuela, the land speaks a language of deep time. We are standing on the Guiana Shield, a geological foundation nearly 2 billion years old. one of the most ancient surfaces on the planet. From this primordial bedrock rise the iconic tabletop mountains. The tepuis, not mountains born of tectonic collision, but the colossal remnants of a vast sandstone plateau, slowly eroded by millennia of wind and rain. For hundreds of thousands of years, their flat summits have existed as ecological islands, completely cut off from the world below. This profound isolation has served as a crucible for evolution, fostering a unique biodiversity of carnivorous plants, jewel-like frogs, and other species found nowhere else on Earth. Each escarpment is therefore more than a geological marvel. It is a self-contained world, a vertical archive of a life that time, on the plains below, has long since forgotten. Scattered like a handful of jewels across the turquoise expanse off the Falcon coast, the Cais of Chichiriviche present an almost impossible vision of Caribbean perfection. But their very existence is a testament to a deep, ceaseless biological process. What appears to the eye as a simple, brilliant white coastline, dazzling under the tropical sun, is in fact a geological chronicle written by life itself. This impossibly soft sand is not the familiar terrestrial quartz eroded from distant mountains, but pure biogenic sediment, the pulverized, sun-bleached remains of countless generations of coral skeletons, the calcified plates of Halimeda algae, and the iridescent fragments of mollusk shells, all ground down and polished by the patient, rhythmic action of the sea over millennia. To reach these idyllic islets, small, brightly painted fishing boats, known as peñeros, depart from the mainland. Their motors a familiar hum as they thread their way through verdant, labyrinthine channels of mangrove. These tangled, submerged roots are the vital marine nurseries, sheltering the juvenile life that sustains the very reef which, in its own life and death cycle, has in turn built. Here, on the northernmost coast of Hispaniola, the shore doesn't just crash, it communicates. Playa Los Coquitos is one of the world's rare singing sands, a phenomenon born not of magic, but of meticulous geology. For millennia, the Dajabon River has carried grains of quartz from the island's central mountains, tumbling and polishing them until they are almost perfectly spherical and uniform in size, each grain between 0.2 and 0.5 of a millimeter in diameter. As your feet press into the dark, iron-rich sand, the friction between these billions of tiny spheres produces a distinct low-frequency hum, an audible signature of the land itself. It's a fittingly complex song for a place of such significance, as this very river, the source of the sand's voice, also serves as the natural border with Haiti, just a few kilometers to the west. The beach, therefore, exists in a state of quiet tension, a place where the subtle music of geology plays out against the profound and often silent history of a divided island. Punta Cana's famed coastline, a seemingly endless ribbon of white and turquoise stretching for over 48 kilometers, holds a secret that lies not in geology, but in biology. One might assume this brilliant sand is mineral, the patient work of water on ancient rock. The truth is far more intricate. Much of this impossibly fine, cool-to-the-touch powder is biogenic, the finely ground skeletons of coral and foraminifera, processed and deposited over millennia by vast schools of parrotfish. Each fish can produce hundreds of pounds of sand per year, a tireless natural engine of creation. This living shoreline, a direct and delicate product of the thriving offshore reef system, provides the perfect foundation for the iconic groves of coconut palms that lean into the constant trade winds. It is a profound realization that this world-famous destination is built not on inert stone, but on the fragile, continuous labor of a marine ecosystem, a paradise constructed one microscopic grain at a time. The name itself, Los Haitises, is a whisper from the past, a Taino word meaning hilly land, and what a land it is. We are gliding through a vast karst landscape, a geological masterpiece where the boundary between island and sea is beautifully blurred. These dozens of mogotes, or small hills, began as immense coral beds on the ocean floor some 30 million years ago, tectonically uplifted and then relentlessly sculpted by millennia of tropical rainfall. This same water action that shaped the exterior also hollowed out the interior, creating a labyrinthine network of hundreds of caves. It is within these dark, silent chambers that the park holds its most profound secret, the faces and figures drawn by the Taino people, a sacred gallery preserved for more than 500 years. Here, the slow, patient work of geology provided not just a shelter, but a canvas, creating a place where natural history and the human chronicle are inextricably intertwined. When one imagines the Dominican Republic, the mind conjures images of sun-drenched coastlines. Yet deep within the island's interior, another reality exists, nestled in the heart of the Cordillera Central, the highest mountain range in the entire Caribbean. This is Jarabacoa, a place defined not by sand, but by elevation and water. Its unique geography, sitting at an altitude of over 500 meters, is the source of its famous moniker, the City of Eternal Spring. Here, the confluence of three major rivers, the Yaque del Norte, the Jimenoa, and the Baiguate, has carved a lush, temperate valley from the rugged terrain. This constant flow of fresh water and cooler air doesn't just sustain the vibrant flower farms and rich coffee plantations that blanket the hillsides. It has cultivated a distinct identity. It is a sanctuary for both adventure and tranquility, a testament to the fact that the true character of a land is often found far from its familiar shores, in the unexpected highlands where the very elements conspire to create a world apart. The name itself, Nizao, is a whisper from the island's deep past, a word left behind by the Taino people who first knew these waters intimately. It is born high in the Cordillera Central, the rugged spine of Hispaniola, where its journey begins as a trickle gathering the mineral secrets of the mountains. The river's celebrated, almost otherworldly turquoise hue is no simple accident of light, but a direct testament to this geological pilgrimage. A high concentration of dissolved limestone, or calcium carbonate, carried down from the peaks, scattering sunlight to create an ethereal glow. For more than 100 kilometers, it carves a dramatic path through the landscape, a ribbon of vibrant life. Yet this is not merely a river of pristine beauty, it is a river of immense purpose. Harnessed by monumental dams like Valdezia, the Nizao's ancient wildflow is meticulously transformed into the essential lifeblood for the capital, providing both fresh water and electrical power to nearly 3 million souls in Santo Domingo. It serves as a powerful reminder of a remarkable duality, a timeless natural artery that is also the engineered heart of the modern Caribbean. The first thing one notices about Canaima Lagoon is the water itself, a striking tea-colored expanse that seems to hold the Earth's secrets. This rich, reddish hue is not a sign of pollution, but a testament to a living landscape. It's a natural infusion, steeped with tannins from millennia of decaying vegetation and stained by minerals leached from the world's oldest exposed rock, the Guiana Shield. Fed by the powerful Carao River, the lagoon is a basin for a series of 7 spectacular waterfalls, including Salto Hacha and La Golondrina. They don't just cascade, they thunder into the basin, churning the ancient waters and filling the air with a perpetual mist that clings to the marish palms lining the shore. Every droplet here is a liquid chronicle, carrying particles from the remote, flat-topped mountains known as tepuis, formations that predate complex life on this planet by over 1 billion years. To stand here is to witness not just a place of immense beauty, but a dynamic geological process where time itself is a visible, flowing element. Here at the easternmost tip of the Samana Peninsula, the land makes its final stand against the vast expanse of the Atlantic. This is the ultimate frontier, a dramatic and final bastion where the vibrant green of the island gives way to the profound, unending blue of the open ocean. Rugged cliffs, scarred by eons of wind and water, plunge into the churning surf, their stony faces a testament to an ancient and unyielding resilience. For millennia, these headlands have endured the ceaseless assault, the rhythmic, powerful surge that carries the weight of an entire ocean behind every breaking wave. Plumes of white spray erupt against the dark volcanic rock in a constant percussive roar, a sound that fills the air and vibrates deep within the chest. Wind-beaten coconut palms cling tenaciously to the precipice, their fronds perpetually rustling a sibilant counterpoint to the deep, resonant thunder from below. This is a place of elemental dialogue, The waters of the Carao River run the color of deeply steeped tea, a rich, clear black that reflects the towering cliffs and endless sky with the flawless polish of obsidian. This profound darkness owes nothing to silt or mud. Instead, its distinctive hue is a natural stain, a potent infusion of tannins leached from millennia of decaying vegetation in the acidic, nutrient-poor, sandy soils of the Guiana highlands. Every drop carries the essence of the ancient forest floor. This river is far more than a simple waterway. It is a liquid timeline, a flowing chronicle navigating a landscape that predates most complex life on Earth. It carves a patient, inexorable path through the Precambrian bedrock of the Guiana Shield, a geological formation nearly 2 billion years old. Its banks flanked not by gentle slopes, but by the sheer, weather-stained and imposing vertical walls of the tepuis. These ancient, flat-topped mountains, isolated for eons, rise like islands in the stream of time, each hosting a unique, lost ecosystem. The Carao, in its dark and steady flow, is the sole channel that grants passage between their monumental feet. To travel its length is therefore not merely to move across a map, but to immerse oneself in a living chapter of planetary history, a profound journey through a primeval. To truly understand La Romana, one must look beyond the curated coastlines and follow the deep, winding course of the Rio Chavon. It is here, where the river's fresh water meets the Caribbean salt, that the city reveals its true identity, one forged not in tourism, but in sugar. For over 100 years, This has been the domain of the Central Romana Corporation, whose immense sugar mill, one of the largest in the Americas, is the very heart from which the modern city was born. The landscape itself tells this story. Endless geometric fields of sugarcane stretching inland, giving way to the industrial muscle of the port, a sprawling complex where raw harvest is transformed and shipped to the world. This is a place of powerful dualities, a working port grafted onto a tropical paradise, where the sweet, heavy scent of molasses often mingles with the brine of the sea. It's a living testament to how a single commodity can carve a metropolis from a coastline, shaping not just an economy, but the very soul of a community. The Churun River begins its journey not as a clear, effervescent mountain stream, but as a ribbon of polished obsidian, its waters stained the profound color of dark tea by the rich tannins leached from the unique, ancient vegetation carpeting the isolated summit of the Aoyan Tepui. For over 77 kilometers, it carves a deliberate, winding path through a world apart, a silent, primordial canyon flanked by the sheer, impassive Precambrian walls of the Guyana Shield, monolithic rock formations that have witnessed nearly 2 billion years of planetary history, standing stoic since an age before complex life began. This is not merely a waterway, it is a liquid timeline, a geological artery flowing from the plateau's core. Every shimmering reflection on its placid, dark surface mirrors an epoch, capturing the fleeting passage of clouds against a backdrop of stone that measures its existence in eons. Its steady, patient current is the very same that has carried the dust of eroded sandstone for millennia, a slow, relentless sculptor and archivist in one. To travel its length is to be enveloped by this immense chronology, to navigate through deep time itself, moving ever deeper into the thundering, isolated heart of the plateau, where the continent's most profound secrets are guarded, written not into the unyielding permanence of stone, but dissolved, carried, and revealed within the constant flowing memory of water. To truly comprehend the scale of Angel Falls, one must look beyond its sheer height and consider its ephemeral origin. The cascade is not born from a river or glacial melt, but from the sky itself. Here, atop the vast, isolated world of Aoyan Tepui, an ancient Precambrian sandstone plateau larger than some small nations, the relentless tropical rains gather in shallow pools. This captured water, with nowhere else to go, is funneled to the escarpment's edge, beginning its staggering, uninterrupted descent of 979 meters. For over 3,000 feet, the water plummets, atomizing under the immense forces of air and gravity. Long before it reaches the aptly named Devil's Canyon below, much of it has already transformed into a spectral mist, a ghostly veil that drifts through the jungle canopy. The indigenous Pemon people call it Kerapakupai Meru, waterfall of the deepest place. It is more than a landmark. It is a visible, breathing link between the heavens and the ancient earth, a constant, dramatic cycle of water becoming cloud. The Valley of Las Mercedes presents a geological paradox. Nestled at over 2,700 meters, its floor is not the expected alpine rock, but a deep basin of Miocene-era volcanic tuff. This ancient porous stone acts like a natural reservoir, capturing the scarce highland rain and creating a microclimate of astonishing fertility. It's a secret the land has kept for millions of years, but one that was understood intimately by the pre-Columbian peoples who first settled here. Their legacy is etched into the slopes, thousands of terraces, now softened by time and grass, that climb towards the Paramo. They are not ruins in a conventional sense, but a living testament to a sophisticated partnership with the earth. The air here is thin and carries the scent of wild mint and damp soil, a quiet that is broken only by the wind moving through the frailejones. One gets the sense that the name, Las Mercedes, the Mercies, was not given for what was built here, but for the profound geological grace that made it all possible in the first place. To walk through Santo Domingo's Zona Colonial is to navigate the very genesis of the modern Americas. It was here, in the year 1502, that Governor Nicolás de Ovando implemented a revolutionary concept: the first grid-planned city in the New World. This was not a settlement that grew organically. It was a deliberate imposition of European order, a rational, geometric blueprint of right angles and central plazas designed for control and efficiency. This model, the traza, would be exported and replicated for the next 300 years, shaping cities from Havana to Cartagena. You feel its logic in the very cobblestones underfoot, passing walls built from coral limestone that have absorbed 5 centuries of tropical sun and sea air. The stones of the Cathedral Primada de America, the oldest in the hemisphere, still anchor this foundational vision, a silent testament to an era of profound and often brutal transformation. This city is more than a collection of historic firsts. It is the living, breathing source code from which the urban landscape of an entire continent was written. Here at Cayo de Agua, the Caribbean reveals one of its most elegant geological signatures, a slender isthmus of pure white sand that seems to cleave the sea in two. This is no mere sandbar, but a classic tombolo, a landform sculpted by a patient and precise marine process. For millennia, waves refracting around the cave from 2 opposing directions have slowed, lost their energy, and deposited their sediment load in the tranquil water between, gradually building this delicate bridge. To walk its length is to witness a hydrodynamic balancing act in real time. On one side, the deeper, sapphire blue waters of the open sea. On the other, the placid, turquoise shallows of the inner archipelago. You are quite literally walking on a line drawn by the ocean itself, a testament to the constructive, rather than destructive, power of water. Protected within the Los Roques Archipelago National Park since 1972, this formation is a humbling reminder of nature's transient artistry, a landscape constantly being written and rewritten by tide and current, a fleeting masterpiece measured not in years, but in grains of sand.